Hi, guys. It's Ernest coming to you from Proximal Consciousness. Got a great subject matter for you today: education. Thought it would be a great subject matter to cover, especially since in this 21st century, education has played such an important part in the development of technology and science and medicine and art and so on and so forth, architecture. Um, the benefit of education to our society has been great. I mean, without education, we would be vastly behind and vastly slowed down in our development. Education provides the speed and the focus and the motivation to not only understand the past but the present and to develop the future in order for each generation to plug into our world and our society. Education provides that knowledge base. It is what keeps us moving forward at a healthy pace. It's what allows individuals, young individuals, to begin to participate in society, in the business world, or in government, religion, whatever the institution that the areas that you decide to study in. It's important to pick the right school in the right location. It's important to pick the right subject matter. It's important to take the necessary or an adequate workload of study and to decide on your work study balance. Some people do uh, school and they work at the same time, which is a lot more stressful than just going to school. A right workload generally is around 3 to 4 courses per semester. Um, it's important to get that done. It's important to have a great socializing experience. That's why some people go to what they call the Big Ten schools or some of the Ivy Leagues because of their history and their location and their socializing properties. Some people work a little more, so they do the online stuff. They do the for-profit university things. These are relatively new schools that popped up with great subject matters. They got masters and undergraduate and specialty programs. Those are fine too. I mean, they don't necessarily offer a great deal of history. Um, the campuses have a great social life. For those people who don't necessarily go to university route but may do a trade skill or some other type of program, those are useful too in plugging into various aspects of society. They're cheaper. They're usually faster. Um, you find people who may be to some extent less focused, less engaged in it. But sometimes you find people who have been raised by their parents who also have participated in those types of jobs, in those type of training areas, and who have instilled in them a great deal of motivation. And so they come out of these programs, raring to develop, raring to participate. So those are great people to know too. So education in general, whichever, whether it's the university or the trade skill or somewhere in between, is always a great um, step into society, into the adult world. You know. And sometimes you find older people who want to actually plug into it at a later date because they got the time and the resources and whatnot, and that's always good. It's mental, emotional, and psychological development and study and research is always a good thing. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you knowledgeable and useful at any age. So it's a great thing. So, but when one considers education, when one considers um, that sort of thing, it's important to take into consideration financing as well. Um, financing of education can be quite expensive, especially if you're going to some of the historical private universities, the Ivy Leagues. Very expensive. But the payoff from those universities are very lucrative, you know, when you're going into the job market. So you got to weigh those kind of things. Some of the public schools, as well known sometimes, but maybe in local regions, maybe not costing as much if you're a resident of that state. If you're a non-resident, uh, will cost you a little bit more. But once again, choosing the right subject matter, choosing the right location, having the right focus and motivation, it should pay off fairly well for you. Um, so the benefits of education, of course, society and all that. The the gaining of knowledge, and it's fairly rapid. The gaining of it at an undergraduate or graduate school level it develops the mind, it develops the reasoning, it develops the objectivity, the analytical, your judgment skills. It calms you down and helps you to focus because that's the only way to get through it. It shows you or requires of you a dedication, a stretching, a reaching, a thinking approach to things, to problem solving, to decision making, to group dynamics. It is a great healer of the youthful anxiety filled type of people who really need to focus and learn to settle down and solve problems. It's a great thing to put oneself through, to focus oneself on for an extended period of time, and to do it with your peers because like I said, socializing is a very important part of it, and it's nice to be a part of something where people of your own age, sometimes you have people in classes and in programs that are older, and all that comes together to really round you out as a person, to settle you down into the world, and to help you to be an intricate part of something. Um, it's a great time. It's a great transition from youth into adulthood. I mean, it can take anywhere from 4 to 8 to 10 years. 4 to 6 to 10 years to do it, depending on what your subject matter is. And that requires dedication over the long run. It creates great memories. So, I would say to people, if they ask me, well, do you think it's a value? And the answer is, of course it is. Of course it is. It's very, very important. I mean, if you can do it, if you can afford it, if you can get access to the type of schools and the location that you would want to, I would definitely recommend it for everyone. Now coming out, not everybody can work at the top jobs all the time. Sometimes, some people end up taking jobs that are not quite in their field. And there's sometimes some people go through a lot of movement from one position to the other, laterals, verticals, and whatever. But the point of it all is it's an opportunity to catch up in terms of your knowledge. To be knowledgeable about a specific subject matter. And of course, you got your general subject matters that help you to become knowledgeable about a vast array of things. It's and overall, it's not a waste of time. It's not a waste of time. It's a great transition. So what I would say to people is you should always give education some consideration and the proper amount of it. And always be serious about your approach to it because it really is beneficial to your emotional, your psychological, your physical. So you should have a physical routine of working out and things of that nature when you're there. It's a very good transition into adulthood into responsibleness for oneself and for other things, businesses, systems, processes. So that's my thought for the day. And I think that everyone, I think about education constantly. I mean, I have all my books from my undergraduate and graduate programs, and I revisit them. And sometimes I go to the libraries and I look at the latest books on the subject matters that I've studied, and look to see how the books are changing, um, or if they're changing at all. Um, so it's a great experience. It's something to help you to get a fuller appreciation of the world in which we live. So I recommend it, and I would say to most people, spend some time considering or exploring and stepping back and looking at the true benefits of education and all the opportunities and how education has helped you develop mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and physically. So that's my thought for today, guys. Have a great day, and always take into consideration some learning and some intellectual growth. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye now.